Welcome everybody to our session on driving accessibility by removing the linguistic divide, which is a very important topic to me and everybody here at SmartLing. I'd like to thank the two participants that could join us here today, Zuleika Murillo and Dominic Recchio. And I asked them to introduce themselves.
Sure, thank you. My name is Zuleika Murillo. I'm the Executive Director of Translation and Interpretation Services here with Fresno Unified School District. Thank you for having me.
And I'm Dominic Recchio. I serve as the Communications Director for Tompkins County Administration. We're a local county government in upstate New York.
Great. And for everybody else, my name is Jennifer Wong. I'm head of AI product strategy here at SmartLing. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have such great customers like you come and talk about such an important topic, especially with globalization and more international communities being built around the world. And now with the access to technology to help it support us in this internationalization for Fresno School District and Tompkins County. I'd like to start here by getting to know a little bit about how your current practices with different language technology plays a role in your day-to-day jobs.
For us in Tompkins County, our main use of SmartLing and the bulk of our translation work occurs through our website. So we have around 1,000 pages on our website, and we did a process in 2022 of reviewing everything that we publish and saying, does it meet our standards for critical public information, things that the public really needs to know and the widest swath of the public as possible needs to have access to. If it met our definition in policy of critical public information, we designated it to be translated into several languages using SmartLing on the site. And so the primary function of how we reach people who use a primary language other than English in our community for county-related information is through our website. That's where we're driving the traffic. That's where we're confident about the content that's being translated through SmartLing. And we have 7 or 8 languages that we're using right now through that tool.
Yes, for us, Jennifer, it's been about 2 years now that we have centralized translation and interpretation services here through our department office. District-wide, we have about 36 languages being spoken on any given day. We are a large city of immigrants, but as a district standard, we do standardize translation of all of our district documents in both Spanish and Hmong. So this being a central location for district translations, we have over 106 schools that submit translation requests to our department specifically. And majority of those documents do go out in Spanish and Hmong specifically, but we're seeing Arabic, Punjabi, just a variety of languages every day.
It's very interesting and very exciting to see how translation is playing such a role in your jobs in terms of getting that information, connecting with the community, and kind of getting them the information and access they need for a lot of very important services. So I'd like to ask a little bit, kind of what are some of the challenges that you face now with the system, with how translations go, especially for these languages that you have to support?
One of the biggest challenges we have is probably keeping up with the demand of our IEPs. If you're familiar with education, an IEP is an individualized education program. It's a very custom style report for a student that identifies very specific accommodations and services that we're providing to that student specifically based on their need, whether they're of special needs, special disabilities, or just a modified plan. These IEPs can range anywhere from 5 pages to 145 pages. And in a district of 72,000 students, we see a lot of translation requests for these IEPs. With this being such a customized plan, it's absolutely critical that the turnaround times are appropriate so that a parent and the administration team can stay up to date with the agreements in this individualized education plan for students. So there's a huge accountability piece to it between administration, student, and parent. And it's absolutely critical that we turn it around in whatever language they need. Keeping up with the demand of how quickly those IEPs come in and how quickly we can process them and turn them around is definitely one of our biggest challenges, and how we are currently using SmartLink. You know, all of our submissions come in through SmartLink. We're growing our memory tools. We're growing our relationship with the DTP team, because every single plan on top of, including medical language, holding us accountable for legal language, all of those aspects that are so critical in translation. They also include many medical graphs, educational content, diagrams that get shifted and moved around once you have the technicalities of uploading in a PDF and exporting in a Word document. So we're using different workflows of SmartLink and keeping up with those workflows, and just working with the SmartLink team has been very critical in this entire process.
And for us at Tompkins County, you say you have 72,000 students. We have 100,000 residents in Tompkins County. We're a very small community, but we're fortunate to have what a lot of folks who live here or visit here consider a very global community. Tompkins County is home to Cornell University and Ithaca College, which bring people from all over the world. Probably 30 individuals across the organization who are responsible for content on our website. Each of those 30 individuals, come in at different levels. We have people who are the heads of departments who are in that list, and people who just started last week who are in that list. So constantly training and retraining people on tools is a really difficult thing for our organization. But what SmartLink allows us to do is to set up those workflows, to do the automation, to make sure that we already identified the pages and the content that are critical public information, as I mentioned before. And so it makes that ease of use and that confidence for our employees to know that that content is there and translated. To us, that makes a big difference, and it alleviates some of that challenge. I think the other challenges that we sort of face is I'd love to see our translation program be a feeder to our services. So we're constantly trying to make sure that the community at large knows what they have access to through our local government. Being able to set the tone for how people access that information in their own language. Our next goal really is making sure that when someone comes through the front door at our health department, our Department of Social Services, that experience carries through with them all the way through their experience working with people. Now, we have tools and processes that works now, but it is very much puzzle pieces versus a seamless use of a tool. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to use this and diffuse it in our organization because it helps solve that problem of the user experience.
Wow, that's great. It's those use cases sound so incredibly diverse and international, and they're all very important and, very unique to each individual person that actually has to interact with your department or a kind of an additional department within your organization. Especially since everybody kind of comes from a different walk of life, there's a huge cultural background aspect to it, right? Because it might not be that everybody's from the same region, not everybody's from Fresno or Tompkins County, that people are coming in from other places, and that this cultural background probably plays a big factor into the translation process. How is it working with you now? How do you guys work with these cultural differences or kind of this background context that people come in with?
Yeah, that's a great question. At Tompkins County, one of the things we're really fortunate to have is several organizations. Being that we're a small community, we know the organizations who serve and work with and build community around people who use a primary language other than English. And so we worked very diligently with those communities as we set up our translation program to get to know, what do your users look for when they're accessing your services? That might be somewhere like our ESL providers in the community or our Catholic Charities office. Both of those have been really excellent. We have a few civic organizations in town as well that were really helpful. So one of the things, I can give an example from during the pandemic when things really started to pick up for us in our need for translation and language access in a very immediate way. we're hearing from groups who needed access to information in different languages that it wasn't just always a translation of our press release or a translation of a flyer that was going to be best for them. It was translation of a video. They wanted a video that they could share in WhatsApp or another group that their community was already familiar with. And we needed to provide that very quickly. And so for us, we were able to translate scripts, run them by people in those communities and say, how does this look for you? And then would you mind recording it? So we were able to use that translated script and have people from those communities who were trusted voices already record the script and then adjust the language on those videos on the fly. And so that made a huge difference for us, especially in some smaller communities where there are just less individuals, and it's a little harder to reach them with our broad public information campaigns. So we would see those videos shared much more quickly and get a lot more views on a quicker basis than something like a translated press release. So for us, that was a key thing when we were looking for a provider, someone who could translate the scripts for videos that we could plug into YouTube in the file format that was correct as well. So that's made a huge difference for us and has helped us actually meet the needs of people at different levels.
Like you, Dominic, we're a city of immigrants. We have families coming in and out of our district pretty regularly. We're also a large agriculture community, so we see a lot of migrant students. We see a little bit of everything, and a lot of times we also see new families coming in who are new to education in itself. So localizing the educational language itself is something that we create through consistency here, putting consistent language out there for families so that they're seeing the same wording, they're seeing the same names of our departments across the board, our same initiatives across the board. And that's something that this tool has really supported us with. We have a very large media team that also puts out many videos because many of our families do not know how to read these documents. So putting a lot of videos together to get information out to our communities in audio and in visual capacity is a huge piece to our work as well. So through SmartLink, we're able to fulfill these needs and turn them around quickly. Our videos, our media team comes in with the script today and they need it tomorrow. So building the capacity of these memory tools and the consistency while still maintaining the quality of the language is really key in this department and what SmartLink is really supporting us with along the way as well.
Great. That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing so much about, your experience and also what you do on a daily basis. I feel like it's a very important part of holding a community together through education or through community county services. They're both very important, especially to a lot of immigrant communities or international communities. One question is, especially with language technology entering this AI space with large language models that we've heard kind of in the media, and how translations can become more robust or more specific for different cultural use cases or for different contexts between education and healthcare. And with AI developing so quickly, how can you imagine it helping you in your professional roles in the coming somewhere between 3 to 5 years? Yeah, I'd be curious to see how you could see that helping you do your job in terms of, getting information out to the community.
When you're saying that, it's making me think of all the different possibilities for a small community with a small county government. I would love to see a place where we're able to hire and retain people who use multiple languages, who speak multiple languages, who are parts of communities. Right now, some of those barriers can be a challenge. It's not that we don't have people on staff who do that, but increasing the confidence of our ability to translate something at a moment's notice really increases our ability to serve the community who use languages other than English in our spaces. I think there's an example that comes to mind immediately as we have a DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, here in Tompkins County, and just yesterday, someone came in needing a form, needed to walk away with a document sort of that day, and they used a language popular in Sri Lanka. I can't remember the name of the language off the top of my head. And ultimately, they were able to get served through Google Translate quick access something, because we haven't diffused all of our tools across the organization. But I would love to see in the future a scenario where our staff all feel very confident in the ability to meet that need at a moment's notice, and maybe not that hesitation or brainstorming. I mean, I get why that happens, and I'm so glad that happens like all the time, where someone's served through a creative mechanism. But something like AI, pushing these large language models, that gives me and our staff the confidence eventually to be able to say, no matter what language you're walking in the door with, we're able to make sure that you have what you need. And so I never want someone to have an experience with Tompkins County or any of our government entities where they're not able to get what they need in the same way that someone who's a part of the majority population would be able to. And so being able to offer that service at a moment's notice is where I would love to see us use things like AI in those large language models. And I know that our staff's eager for that too. I mean, people want the best tools to deliver the best customer service and be the most equitable service provider we can be. This is something that helps us get there, and I'm excited about the future of where we can head with it.
For us, Jennifer, as a district, this is the first time we have really with centralizing these services, it's the first time that we've embedded an actual tools that could support our district, district-wide. We've never used anything like memory tools. We've never used anything like a CAT tool, anything like translation management. So that's huge for us. So Dominic brought a great point about building staff capacity in his own organization. And I think it goes the same for us. I think for the future, I would definitely like to see building our department capacity around using the same tools that we're using, because the reality is we all have bilingual staff district-wide. And, there's going to be a form that needs to get put out, and why not put it through SmartLink as well? It could be created as the internal district tool, and putting it through something like SmartLink, ensures that we're using the same language. We maintain the consistency. So that is something that I would like to see district-wide, and I think that could definitely be embedded. And also, I think I'd like to get us to, get that taboo away of using AI, right? A lot of times we hear, "Ooh, no," everyone thinks it's a specific Google Translate, and nothing is gonna come out right. But we built this. We built it to be used as we need it. It's not only doing automated translation, it's using the content that we've revised. It's using the glossaries that we've embedded. So helping our district get away from seeing AI in such a negative light around translation is a huge goal for us here as well.
Yeah, that's definitely, both points are very great to, hear. Here at SmartLing, our number one goal is to make sure that you get that consistent translation, that everybody on your team in your districts have access to the right tooling to get the job done. I mean, of course, especially for such important services in education, healthcare, and any other additional county services, it's very important that you can communicate with that community. And ideally, also in the future, that they can easily communicate back, even if it's in a different language or with different cultural understanding and background, right? The way somebody says something from a different country could mean something else just because they have a different cultural history. So it's very important for us that we kind of are able to help support you in your job and servicing your districts. So I'd like to thank both of you, Zuleika and Dominic, for coming here today and joining us on this panel. I think it's kind of the first step in a much larger discussion. And it's wonderful to hear kind of how you use SmartLing and how you use different language technology to help you achieve such important aspects in your job.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be a part of this.
Thank you, Jennifer.